Guys, some crazy things are happening right now. We just got ourselves the first Bitcoin spot. No, unfortunately not. But the first leveraged Bitcoin futures ETF approved by the SEC. Woo! As you can see right here, I'm not a finance guy, as John Deaton, and I've never claimed to be. But before I make assumptions, is there a legitimate basis to approve a leveraged ETF well before a spot ETF? Because that indeed is what they have just done. I tried to live stream this, but it was not working properly. At the same time, entire crypto Twitter is filled with people going crazy because Coinbase is celebrating right now. And you might be wondering, why are they celebrating? Well, apparently they've got themselves a victory in a lawsuit. Now, what might that be? They're going mad over on Twitter saying, look at the justice system, we have won. It's unfortunately not about the SEC lawsuit, it's about another Coinbase lawsuit. But guys, this basically means we keep getting more and more excited of more and more victories and more beautiful things happening. Right now, the fact that this first leveraged Bitcoin ETF got approved, in my opinion, just means that many great things are about to happen. And that's exactly why right now, cryptocurrencies were pumping up, Bitcoin above $31,000 right now as we speak. And I think it's not because of the decision itself, because honestly, that is not the biggest of deals. It's about the idea that massive amounts of money can now start flowing in because of what's about to be approved next. Guys, you have to understand that because of this, the SEC has no right anymore to ever deny a spot ETF. It is nearly impossible. And before we move on, guys, if you've not pressed that like button yet, make sure you do it right freaking now. Because guys, if we get to 2,500 likes on this video, and I think it's very much possible, I'll be giving away $1,000 freaking dollars. Let's go! You can see I'm hyped up, guys. I'm very freaking hyped up because things are finally going in a positive way again. Breaking news, the SEC gave up and allowed for the launch of the first leveraged Bitcoin futures ETF in the United States. And a spot ETF will most likely be coming up very freaking soon. And then it's going to be a roller coaster of more and more ETFs, more and more ETFs. And I personally think many other cryptos like XRP, once the clarity is there, will also be getting themselves these juicy ETFs because it's going to be very hard to deny with this basis now. Anyway, over the last couple of days, we've been talking a lot about Coinbase, a whole lot even. It's pretty scary. One of the things we covered even earlier today was how the former CFTC chairman alleges that the SEC acted deliberately in the timing of the Coinbase lawsuit, where they basically planned accordingly, that they sued Coinbase just before the chief legal officer at Coinbase had to testify in front of Congress as a slight little sneaky move. Now, people went crazy over on Twitter over this recent news. Breaking Coinbase and the Supreme Court and win and news. Well, what does that mean? Well, the U.S. Supreme Court rules for Coinbase in its bid to halt court proceedings as company seeks to move customer litigation into arbitration. Now, the long story short, this arbitration basically means they're taking it away, from the normal U.S. Supreme Court and from the judges and from the normal proceedings into a third party, and they're basically taking it into the back room to settle it man to man with somebody watching over that. So if you want it to be explained in a 60 IQ manner, instead of dealing with the stuff in court, they're going to deal with their stuff outside of court with a third independent party. And a deeper explanation is that this has many benefits and many downsides. For Coinbase as a company, this is mostly beautiful because it basically shows the court knows as well that Coinbase can probably manage all this stuff without needing to go through this very rigorous and long process of the normal court. And a third party would most likely suffice for getting all these issues sorted. The negative part is that how people have pointed out that usually this ends up not being in the best interest for customers and for employees because, well, the arbiters, the ones that basically go over everything and make the decision, they usually act on the side, most of the time, of the party providing them with the most amount of money / work, which in this case here would be Coinbase. This news blurb is about a recent decision by the U.S. Supreme Court about Coinbase. There appears to be a court case likely involving Coinbase customers, users of the platform that was underway. Coinbase was attempting to halt these court proceedings and instead work, in the background. Arbitration is an alternative to court proceedings. Instead of a judge or jury, a neutral third party called an arbiter hears the evidence and makes a decision. The process is typically faster and less formal than a court trial. A decision is usually confidential, so we will not hear about the decision, whereas with these court cases, they're public. The Supreme Court's ruling suggests they agreed with Coinbase's request, and therefore the court proceedings will be halted, stopped, and the case will go to arbitration instead. This is often seen as a victory for corporations, as arbitration is generally viewed as more company friendly. This is because arbiters tend to be the industry insiders, and the process can be less costly than a court case. Also, arbitration awards are usually smaller than court verdicts if, again, the claimant were to win, and the proceedings are private, which can help avoid negative publicity, etc. And that's why very often in the contracts that you sign as a customer, it's already in there that you gotta fix these things through arbitration. Apparently, the case involved arbitration proceedings after a customer alleged that Coinbase failed to replace funds fraudulently taken from the user's accounts. The justices voted 5-4. If you're wondering what the case was about, by the way, the first class action lawsuit at the center of the Supreme Court focuses on a complaint from Abraham Bielski, who claims Coinbase should compensate him for funds lost to a crypto scammer. Bielski says he lost $31,000 after falling for a ploy in which someone imitated a PayPal representative. The second one is Suski v. Coinbase, because again, they actually have two ongoing cases with customers right now. It's a sweepstakes event that the primary plaintiff and other customers claim was misleading. To enter the multi-dollar event, some customers say they were led to believe they needed to trade $100 in Dogecoin, but apparently anyone could enter regardless of Dogecoin purchases and or sales. Now, for as far as I understand, this one is only versus Bielski. And the reason it's so controversial is because people say, well, if Coinbase has a clause that all these people should resolve these things in a quiet manner with Coinbase and not in court, people are potentially deprived of a fundamental right to go to court. We could sit here discussing that for hours. I do not know. Coinbase is seeing it as a win. And at the end of the day, this is nice publicity for Coinbase because the justice system is on their side, with at least one part. Anyway, like we've been saying, the SEC is basically turning very freaking pale over the last couple of days with a lot of positive news coming out against the SEC. Let's put it like that. So we've got Giancarlo from the ex-CFTC basically stabbing the SEC in the back. We've got a SEC versus CFTC battle over jurisdiction. We've got ex-SEC members in Binance US actually going against the grain and getting back at the SEC, claiming that a lot of the claims they make are just not true, getting back on the offensive. We've got Coinbase, of course, going and actually, basically, this happened before, but they sued the SEC to get them to make proper rules. We've obviously got more and more excited over the Ripple versus SEC case, a lot of pressure. But now specifically because of all this ETF pressure, it's just wild. The SEC can't keep hiding. They can't keep saying the rules are not clear. They can't keep denying everything. And most importantly, they can't deny BlackRock this ETF. It's nearly impossible. And I think the fact that right now they're shivering in their boots, which is why they approved this one ever so quickly, to still have some time to go for the Bitcoin spot ETF while soothing people in that this is going to be happening. I still think, as of this point, it's all a game, it's all a show. I don't think this is like a coincidence of sorts. But yeah, we all know what's about to happen. And that's exactly why cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, are doing exceedingly well right now, with Bitcoin going up and some altcoins going up. But all these gains mean nothing if you compare it to where we are about to be over the next couple of months, which, guys, I'll remind you of, is most likely going to be absolutely freaking insane. I still believe in cryptocurrency like my left nut, I don't know. And the only thing I can tell you is I am so deep into all of this, there's nothing left, right? I can't go deeper. And that's because historically it's proven that every single cycle we reach a new all-time high. I still think it's going to happen this time again. I believe the bottom is in, and even though we can come down ever so slightly, we could even go down 30-40% in Bitcoin's price over the next couple of months, I do not think we'll go lower than the local bottom, and I do believe that the bull run has officially already started, and that if you're not accumulating right now, you're making a grave mistake. But it's not financial advice. These are just my thoughts. I've stated many times, if people are just adamant about pursuing their grind, they continuously reinvest in themselves or in whatever they believe in, and it's proven to be on a good path, it's not some crazy exit scam type of thing, I think most people will do very, very well. And I think a lot of people that are in a medium situation right now will become millionaires in the next couple of years, potentially in the next run. There were so many people in 2017-18 that turned a couple $1,000s into so many millions of dollars. The same thing happened again after the 2020 crash. You got to understand, Bitcoin's price went from $3,000 to $69,000. The reason I very often talk about Bybit and all these other exchanges is because you can use leverage, which some people like, some people hate. Hey, you do you. But it can sometimes help people to use, for example, $1,000 to act as $10,000 and then make significant amount of gains or losses, obviously, with trading. But all I want to say about this is things are about to get really freaking exciting. The SEC has no more room to say no. They just can't. And once the ETFs, the Bitcoin ETFs are in, it's going to be more requests. It's going to be more requests. It's going to be more institutional money, more institutional pressure. And the moment that BlackRock is in the space, you think they're going to let the SEC slap them around? Hell no. It's not going to happen. It's not. So they're shitting their pants, I believe, and things are about to get really freaking good. I'm freaking excited.